I'm Adrian Seet, and you are watching Nightline. The top stories. More than 4,000 GE15 nomination forms sold. And PM calls for smooth nomination day. Thanks for joining us. It is all systems go for the nomination of candidates for the 15th general election GE15, as well as the Bugaya State seat by-election set to take place in just a few hours. Besides preparations by the Election Commission, EC, to ensure the smooth running of the nomination process, on Saturday morning, the police will deploy over 31,000 personnel, as well as the use of drones, in order to ensure public order and security throughout the nomination process. The period for the submission of nomination papers on Saturday is between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. at 222 nomination centres, located at, amongst other places, district offices, community halls and school halls. The EC has sold a total of 4,326 nomination forms so far for GE15. According to statistics released by the Commission on Friday, 3,036 of the nomination forms are for the parliamentary seats, while 1,290 forms were for state seats. Sabah recorded the highest purchase of forms for parliamentary seats at 716. This was followed by Perak at 326, Selangor at 266, Kelantan at 262, Johor at 253, and Pulau Pinang at 219 nomination forms for parliamentary seats. Meanwhile, 163 nomination forms for parliamentary seats were purchased for Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya, Kedah at 150, Pahang at 144, Terengganu with 118, Sarawak with 100, and Malacca with 73 nomination forms purchased. Perlis, which has only 3 parliamentary seats, recorded the purchase of 52 nomination forms for parliamentary candidates, which is higher than Negeri Sembilan, which has 8 parliamentary seats, but recorded purchase of only 24 forms so far. On the sale of the nomination forms for the state seats, Perak recorded the highest at 654, followed by Pahang at 422 and Perlis at 153. Meanwhile, a total of 31,183 policemen will be deployed nationwide to ensure public order and security throughout the nomination process. Federal Internal Security and Public Order Department Director Datuk Hazani Ghazali, who was appointed as the Bukit Aman's Operations Director for the general election, said the police will also mobilize its assets, such as drones, to facilitate smooth operations. Polling is set to take place on November the 19th and early voting on November 15th. GE15 involves 222 parliamentary seats and 59 state seats in Perak, 42 in Pahang and Perlis with 15. The nomination of candidates for GE15 has been eagerly awaited following the emergence of new political coalitions that are likely to cause at least 3 to 4 cornered fights in most of the 222 parliamentary seats across the country. Do not engage in any provocation and maintain discipline during the nomination process. This call came from the Prime Minister. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this is to ensure the nomination process runs smoothly.
Saya percaya beribu-ribu akan ada besok di setiap kawasan parlimen ataupun DUN yang dipertandingkan. Jadi saya harap kita jaga disiplin kita, jangan timbulkan provokasi yang boleh menimbulkan perbalahan dan sebagainya. Kita semua sama-sama nak pergi hantar dan mengiringi calon kita dengan harapan calon kita boleh bertanding dengan baik dan menang selepas itu. Jadi besok hanyalah hari pertama untuk penambah calon. Jadi janganlah tiba-tiba kerana provokasi tersebut berlaku pergaduhan.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said this after visiting the Bera BN Operations Centre in Pahang, where he is defending his seat. He also called on Barisan Nasional BN members to set aside their differences to help the coalition secure an overwhelming victory in the nationwide polls. Heeding the Prime Minister's call, Selangor BN Chief and Tanjung Karang incumbent MP Tan Sri Noor Omar, who was dropped from the coalition's list of candidates, gave his commitment to support the BN candidate at Tanjung Karang in addition to ensuring the victory of all 22 BN candidates in Selangor. Tan Sri Noor was launching the coalition's election machinery in Tanjung Karang. Also present was BN candidate for the parliamentary constituency, Datuk Habibah Muhammad Yusof.
Saya harap kita ayo bersama-sama, kita gerakkan kerja kita supaya kita nak pastikan bahawa Barisan Nasional Tanjung Karang terus menjadi kubu kuat Barisan Nasional. Boleh?
He also stressed that he will never abandon the party but will continue to play his crucial role to lead the coalition in the state in GE15.
Saya sedar bahawa saya juga dah lama di sini. Saya faham. Saya kena bagi muka-muka baru. Untuk naik ke atas.
Meanwhile, incumbent Member of Parliament for Ketere, Tan Sri Anwar Musa, has pledged to continue his support and stay loyal towards Barisan Nasional in the GE15. Having been the Ketere Member of Parliament since 1995, Tan Sri Anwar was dropped from the BN list of candidates, this time around in order to give way to Ketere Puteri UMNO Chief, Marzuani Ardila Arifin.
Saya bimbing dia dan dia bukan dia saja bekerja untuk saya sekian lama kan. Bukan dia saja, daripada arwah ayah dia lagi. Arwah ayah dia, mak dia makan sikit pun hantar ke rumah saya. Takkan saya tergamak nak matikan anak saya sendiri. Kan? Okey.
Saya akan turun padanglah bantu.
Oh, mestilah sebab saya ketua bahagian. Kalau serah pada Mazwani seorang, kesianlah dia. Takkan saya nak biarkan dia terkapai-kapai. Pagi ni saya panggil Datuk Alwi, saya panggil Mazwani, susun apa yang terbaik boleh kita buat.
Tan Sri Anwar, who was present to give his support to the Kelantan BN candidates during the handing over of appointment letters in Kota Baru on Friday, added that the Ketere UMNO will work hard to defend the parliamentary seat. BN has maintained its stance that its political struggle cuts across all genders and ethnicities, says the coalition's chief. Dato Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said for this there was a need to field valued candidates for the coalition to continue serving the people. In his social media post, the BN chief said the selection of GE15 candidates to win any parliamentary constituency is not based on skin colour and ethnicity. He went on to denounce critics hiding behind religion for failing to understand the coalition's strategy. Dato Sri Zahid also noted that the BN has done its best to field many women candidates as well. He said strategies the coalition has put forward were part of its tactical move to win GE15, and that many factors were taken into account to ensure the coalition's victory in the November 19th general election. He cited BN's victories in the recent Malacca and Johor state elections, where the strategy of making changes to candidates turned out to have a huge impact on results. Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad hit out at PKR Deputy President Rafizi Ramli for pouring scorn on his leadership as Prime Minister during Pakatan Harapan PH's 22 months in power. Describing the attack as an attempt to smear his image, the 97-year-old Parti Perjuang Tanah Air, Perjuang chairman, said he was elected as the PH Prime Minister after the 2018 general election, despite being criticised by the opposition parties during his first stint as Prime Minister. The former Prime Minister, who is defending the Langkawi seat, was responding to Rafizi's remarks recently that PH did not need to cooperate with the former Premier to secure the support of Malay voters in GE15. Rafizi claimed that Tun Dr. Mahathir did not deliver the Malay votes to PH in the previous general election. Rafizi was reported as saying the Malay support for PH did not change for several months after Tun Dr. Mahathir and his former party, Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia, Bersatu, joined PH coalition in 2016.
Bila dia lawan dengan kita, dia nanti burukkan imej kita lah, dia cerita macam-macam. Tapi terpulang kepada rakyat, sama ada nak percaya mereka ataupun tolak orang macam Rafizi itu. Dia sokongnya itu, sokongnya ini. Dia nampak saya bertanding ni, kena sokong, kena hentam lah. Saya kena hentam okey. Daripada dulu semasa saya jadi Perdana Menteri yang keempat pun, saya kena belasak teruk. Kononnya saya diktator, saya ada kroni. Lepas tu bila saya ni masuk parti lawan, pilih saya jadi Perdana Menteri. Kalau dia percaya saya begitu buruk, pasal apa nak pilih saya?
Tun Dr. Mahathir, who is also Gerakan Tanah Air, GTA Pro-Tem Chairman, said it is fielding 132 candidates in GE15. He said if his health permits, he would be travelling around the country to campaign for the GTA candidates. The nation recorded a surge in new COVID-19 cases, with 4,711 infections reported on Friday. And that's compared with 3,969 cases the previous day. A total of 4,704 cases were local infections, while the rest were imported cases. Out of the 4,711 cases, 3 states hold the highest figures, namely Selangor with 1,609 cases, followed by Kuala Lumpur with 1,168 cases and Perak with 391 cases. However, no deaths were recorded. A total of 20,824 cases were recorded over 6 days, from October 29th to November the 3rd. That saw an almost 60% increase from 13,050 during the same period of October 22nd to October 27th. Tension heightened between Koreas. News from the foreign front when we return. South Korea's military scrambled fighter jets after detecting about 180 North Korean military flights north of the two countries' borders over 4 hours on Friday. In a statement, the military said the North Korean aircraft flew north of the so-called tactical measure line, drawn up to 20 kilometers north of the military demarcation line. In response, South Korea scrambled 80 of its warplanes, including an unspecified number of F-35 fighters, but there were no immediate reports of incidents involving the two air forces. The maneuvers came after North Korea fired more than 80 rounds of artillery into the sea overnight, and the launch of multiple missiles into the sea on Thursday, including a possible failed intercontinental ballistic missile. The launches prompted the United States and South Korea to extend air drills that have angered Pyongyang. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan was recovering in hospital on Friday after an assassination attempt that left him with a gunshot wound to the leg. Now, according to officials, currently Khan is in stable condition and is doing fine at the Shaukat Khanum Hospital in the eastern city of Lahore. The attack on his convoy, apparently by a lone gunman, killed one man and wounded at least 10 others, significantly raising the stakes in a political crisis gripping the country since Khan's ousting in April. The 70-year-old former international cricket star had been leading a campaign convoy of thousands since last week from Lahore to the capital Islamabad when he was attacked. Several leaders of Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party have blamed the government for the assassination attempt and announced a countrywide protest on Friday afternoon. It said the protest will continue until Khan's political change in the country is met. Authorities in New Delhi ordered primary schools to shut from Saturday and told schools to stop outdoor activities for older children as air in the world's most polluted capital had become a severe risk to health. As the air quality index topped the 400 mark, putting most districts in the capital territory in the severe or hazardous category on Friday, authorities instructed schools to take action and warned that more measures could be introduced to restrict the number of vehicles on the roads. India's Federal Pollution Control Board has so far banned the entry of diesel trucks carrying non-essential goods into the capital, while Delhi's administration suspended most construction and demolition work in the region earlier this week. Going forward, 50% of Delhi government employees would also be told to work from home, and private firms are urged to take similar steps. In another development, Twitter's new boss, Elon Musk, has laid off over 3,700 people globally, days after closing the deal to buy the social media giant for $44 billion. Thousands of employees were notified about the layoffs through an email on Thursday. The email stated that the job cuts are an effort to place Twitter on a healthy path, and the action was unfortunately necessary to ensure the company's success moving forward. Musk had earlier told prospective investors that he intended to reduce the company's staff from around 7,500 down to just over 2,000. Previously, he has also promised to make sweeping changes at the company and has already removed the entire board, leaving himself as the sole executive, and pledged to change how the site handles content moderation. Tennis, the Paris Masters. Tommy Paul claimed a spot in the quarterfinals following a straight-set victory over Pablo Carreño Busta. Fresh from his biggest win of his career on Wednesday in Paris, when he defeated 21-time Grand Slam champion Rafael Nadal in 3 sets, Paul took the first set 6-4. Carreño Busta tried to put some fight in the second set, but Paul was at his best as he secured a 6-4 victory and a slot in the last 8. He will next play against a 5th-seeded Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece. Turning to football, the Australian A-League. Nani earned a penalty as Melbourne Victory trashed Newcastle Jets 4-0 on Friday. Victory took the lead after 16 minutes when they were awarded a penalty after Nani was brought down inside the penalty area. Jack Brimmer stepped up and smashed in the spot kick. The home side had to wait until 5 minutes into the second half to double the advantage through Economides' fierce drive from a close range before Nick D'Agostino made it 3-0 4 minutes later, finishing off Brimmer's sublime through ball. Victory finally sealed the win just before the final whistle, again from the spot after Magnata handled the ball inside the area. With the win, Victory climbed to 4th in the standings with 7 points after 5 matches. Coming up after this break, 3 arrested over ruckus in Johor. Stay with us. Welcome back. Malaysia and the United Kingdom aim to elevate their Committee on Trade and Investment to ministerial-led Joint Economic Trade Committee JETCO. In a statement, International Trade and Industry Ministry said the new JETCO will promote and enhance trade, investment and economic cooperation linkages. These include addressing trade barriers affecting businesses between the two countries. The first meeting of Malaysia-UK JETCO is expected to be held next year. Earlier, Malaysia and the UK convened the second Joint Committee on Trade and Investment Cooperation in London on Thursday. At the meeting, the UK congratulated Malaysia on its ratification of a CPTPP and provided an update on their accession status, while Malaysia presented the benefits of the deal when it enters into force for Malaysia on November 29th. Malaysia's terms of trade showed a positive growth in September, rising 1% month-on-month to 113 points and 6.8% year-on-year from September 2021. Department of Statistics attributed this to the rises in the index of mineral fuels, chemicals and machinery and transport equipment. The export and import unit value indices rebounded to an upward trend, increasing 1% and 0.03% month-on-month respectively. The increase in the export unit value index was supported by the increases in the index of mineral fuels. The export volume index also increased by 1.1%, contributed by the rise in the index of animal and vegetable oils and fats, while the import unit value index, which recorded a marginal increment of 0.03%, was attributed to the rise of the index of machinery and transport equipment. Johor police have crippled a drug syndicate and seized drugs worth 1.66 million ringgit in a series of raids in several districts from October 28th until November the 3rd. State Police Chief Datuk Kamarul Zaman Mamat said police arrested 22 individuals in the crackdown. In a statement, he said the operations involved 25 officers and men, were carried out in Johor Bahru, Iskandar Puteri, Sri Alam and Kota Tinggi. He said the syndicate's modus operandi was to use houses in gated and guarded residential areas as drug storage and repackaging centres. Police suspect that the syndicate has been active since mid-2022. Various drugs, cash and assets such as branded watches, cars, jewellery and mobile phones were also confiscated in the raid. Datuk Kamarul said the drugs and assets seized are worth a total of 2.7 million ringgit. Still in Johor, police are still on the lookout for the remaining suspects of a ruckus following an accident after the car which was involved in the mishap near a petrol station in Pasir Gudang was deliberately overturned. Police have so far arrested 3 men over the incident, which went viral on social media. It showed a group of unknown men attacking one of the accident victims by damaging and turning his car upside down. Sri Alam District Police Chief Superintendent Muhammad Sohaimi Ishak said the incident took place at Taman Kota Masai on Thursday, and the commotion took place following the accident which involved a motorcycle and a car. Both victims suffered light injuries. The ruckus was being investigated under the Penal Code, while the accident was being investigated under the Road Transport Act. Over in Malacca, a former commando and a fisherman was sentenced to 5 years in jail by the Aikro High Court for smuggling 5 illegal immigrants 3 years ago. Judge Muhammad Razi Abdul Halim meted out the sentence after Zulkifli Baka and Norizan Abu Saman, aged 61 and 51 respectively, nodded after the charge was read out to them. Zulkifli and Norizan were found to be hiding 5 undocumented Indonesians to be sent back to their country. The offence was committed at a house in Masjid Tanah Malacca on August the 6th, 2019. The duo were arrested together with the illegal immigrants in the house during a police raid. It was understood that they were waiting for a boat to return to their country through the Tanjung Bidara waters. They were charged under the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act 2007, which provides a jail term of up to 15 years or a fine or both upon conviction. Now, the universe of Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera arrived in Washington with an immersive experience that recreates the most intimate spaces and artwork of the prolific Mexican painters. Let's take a look at the exhibition as we wrap up Nightline this time around. With that, I'm Adrian Seet. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.